where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe. You are listening to Talk in the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. Sorry, I had a little couple things that I had to do real quick, but I am live. Tonight we're talking about technologies that we could see in the 2020s from now until the end of 2020. Let me make sure all my mic is good and everything, and I'm streaming on on YouTube. Join me in the chat. I'll be in there. I won't be able to see your comments until I click over there to see them. But again, tonight we're going to talk about some of the stuff that we could see coming from now until 2029. We're going to talk about what the past thought the future would look like. From many TV shows like The Jetsons, Back to the Future, IRobot, just to name a few. Well, because we're going to get into like IRobot and stuff like that when we get into the AI stuff. But I want to, before we get started, let me take this off of a bigger screen here and move myself over here. All right, so as I mentioned before, any show, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. And also be sure to comment and share this with all your paranormal friends or anybody that likes this kind of stuff. Also, Talk in the Night is listener supported, so there is a link in the description for my PayPal. If you could, listener viewer supported, so go over there, donate what you can, 1, 5, 10, 20, whatever you can afford. It's greatly appreciated. It will help me keep creating great content, keep me going live streaming, so make sure you do that. Now let's get into the topic here in a second as soon as I get to it, because I don't want to be on the site that I am. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go there first before I get into the topic. So this is the old website. Everything's here. Now, I did start transferring stuff over from the old website to the new website, and this is the new website. I got the homepage done. As you can see what I got coming up for October. I'll mention that at the end of the show, but everything else is coming over there nicely, so I will be over there pretty soon with my website. Alright, so let's get into like 20 of the technologies that we could see in 2020. And this comes from Science Focus. It's 20 technologies that we could see in the 2020s. And that's from now until the end of 2029. So, I'm just doing something here. All right. So, when you think of technology, what do you think we might see in the upcoming future? And I'm just going to check Facebook here real quick, make sure that I did post that I was live so people know. Okay, I did. So, when you think technology, you're thinking like as what we would all think right now. We're going to get smarter computers and possibly robots. I mean, look at stuff that they talked about in the 1950s what they thought of the future. I mean, you can see it from cartoons such as the Jetsons. They thought we would have flying cars. Back to the Future 2, especially. Again, with the flying cars, thought we would have virtual reality screens, like something that you would see probably on the Matrix or something like that. Of course, we haven't gotten to that yet, but we do have a lot of technology out there, probably stuff that we don't even know about. But we're going to get into that. And I want to check my stream health and everything, make sure I'm good. Alright, so I'm good here. So, alright, so let's get into this topic, this article here. Again, this is from Science Focus. Synthetic media will undermine reality. Now, when you watch the news, you got a live person talking. You got somebody talking, especially with YouTube. You got people like me talking to give this information. But when you think synthetic, what do you think? Something that is fake or not real. So it says synthetic media will undermine reality. Now, I'm going to get into this video here because that person looks real, doesn't he? Well, I'll talk about that in a moment. It says the entertainment world will literally create the next generation of stars. You know about deepfake technology? Deepfake technology. That was almost a tongue twister there. Where someone's face is switched into an existing video scene. But deepfakes are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to synthetic media. And this might put a lot of people in the entertainment industry, a lot of people, YouTubers like myself, and radio hosts out of business. I mean, I'm still going to do it. And I'm sure other people are going to do it. But for the big stations, they might go to something like this. A much wider phenomenon of super realistic, artificially generated photos, text, and sound and video that seems desired to shake our notions of what's actually real over the next decade. Now, again, I want to state that this is not, I'm going to type in here, this is not sure, I can't think now. Not to say that this will happen, but it's possible. This is stuff that we could see. It's not saying that we will see this. Now, let's take a look at this persondoesnotexist.com, or take a look at thispersondoesnotexist.com. Hit refresh a few times. None of the faces you see are real. Uncannily realistic, they are entirely synthetic, generated by generative advertisal networks, the type of the artificial intelligence behind many deep fakes. Now, I might actually go click on that, and it's going to take me to that. But again, does that not look real? It almost looks like a Photoshop thing. But that is actually synthetic. So imagine, and let's go back. Imagine something like that doing the news or doing a YouTube channel, programmed to the way that these companies want to put it out. It's kind of scary, but it could happen. So let's click on this video, play it. I don't know, I forgot how long this video is, but we're not going to play the whole thing. We're going to break in and out. I'm going to pause it a couple times so that way I don't get a copyright strike. But let's play this. It's only 31 seconds, but I still got.
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first.
Now, you heard him say artificial intelligent anchor. Again, he looks real when you look at this thing, but he is actually, you can tell the difference when the voice comes on because it's got more of that robotic voice. And I'm not talking about the robotic voice that you make when you're talking into a fan or anything like that. But let's play some more of this.
Day in Xinhua News Agency, my voice and appearance are modeled on Zhang Zhao, a real anchor with Xinhua. The development of the media industry calls for
Now, see, it was based on a real anchor, news anchor, I guess in China. But again, could this actually be coming to where something like this will become reality?
continuous innovation and deep integration with the international advanced technologies. I will work tirelessly to keep you informed as texts will be typed into my system, uninterrupted. I look forward to bringing you the brand new news experiences.
Okay, so again, that could be coming to our future. Something synthetic like this anchor, or the synthetic news anchor. Imagine somebody like that that's, it's not going to make mistakes, or so they think, but it's going to be programmed to say what those people want to say. Now, not to say that it's already happening with real live people. People are programmed on news media, mainstream media, to say what they want, or told to say. Now, free YouTube content creators like myself, we don't have a script to follow. I mean, everything that I have set up for tonight's show, I decided what I wanted to cover. I decided what I wanted to show you. Now, you can disagree with me. I appreciate it. I welcome the disagreement, because that's how we get a discussion going. But, and again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, going on in this article, these false photos show us how far synthetic, and that was from this website right here. These false photos show us how far synthetic media has come in the past few years. Elsewhere, China's Xinhua State News Agency has provided an insight into possible use of synthetic media. That way, you think of a country like that, that way they can control more of what you get from the news media, rather than have people out there putting, I mean, it's already tight, strict content from the news or social media out of China. Imagine that those that do put out content going against the Chinese government, imagine if it's all stopped and all you get is this type of media, that what that government programs, what that news media, that mainstream media in China puts out. I mean, it's kind of scary. It could. Hey, Nicole, sorry, I'm just checking the YouTube channel chat because I got it open in a separate window. I don't have a separate screen so I could look at two screens. I'm going to have to figure that out. Maybe use my TV and try and figure that out, but I'll figure that out later. While the results are a little chunky, it suggests a direction where things may be headed. While such synthetic media is potential for an explosion in creativity, which the creators of this technology would actually benefit, but some people that sit behind that desk or content creators that sit in front of the camera or reporters out on the street, because you won't have reporters out on the street, so I wonder how that would work. Continue on. It also has the potential for harm. I wonder why. Potential for harm by providing providers of fake news and state-sponsored misinformation news. Did I not just discuss that? Highly malleable channels of communication. So they can put out what they deem necessary, like they do in China. And that could be coming here to America. Now, for other people watching this around the world, it could be happening in your neighborhood soon too. It's just something that is a possibility. Now, you might think that this actually might be a good thing, but it's not. I don't see any good coming out of it, because it's going to do a lot more harm than it is going to do good. So you can read more on that, or some other things about future technology, which we're not going to get into. Number 2, there will be a revolution in cloud robotics. Now, a global network of machines talking and learning from one another sounds familiar, like could create robo butlers. Does that bring up, let's see, a thing about, robots? Maybe like IRobot? And we're going to get into AI, possibly, that could take over the world if something like this happens. But, I mean, we got robots now. We got, and I didn't pull it up, but we got, like, robot dogs and stuff like that, and other type of robots that we use for, the military uses for, and police use for bomb squad things and stuff like that. Or, I mean, but imagine IRobot type butlers. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what happens when the mainframe takes over. And again, we're going to get all into that AI stuff near the end of the show. Now, until now, robots have carried their plenty freebie brains inside them. Now, another thing that I did not pull up was, I'm trying to think, I think it was a few years back, where there was this lifelike looking robot, female robot. If I can find it, I'll put it in the description after I'm done with the live stream. But I forget what she said, but there was something that she said that was very disturbing, like Um, Something about killing or harming humans. Um, I think, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But again, I'll post that in the description. It was an interview that the content creator, or not the content creator, but the creator of the robot was doing an interview with this robot, or maybe it was this one talk show thing doing an interview with this robot. Again, I can't remember. It was a couple of years back. Excuse me. But I think they asked a certain question. It just did not sound like that was where we wanted to go with this. Now, yes, there can be bugs in technology. We got bugs in all kinds of technology these days. And yes, they can be worked out. But what happens if this technology figures a way to override that integration, that update in the software? Again, bringing up iRobot. It's a scary thought. They received instructions such as rivet this or carry that, and done it. Not only that, but they have worked in environments such as factories, warehouse, specially designed or adapt for them. Now, of course, everything. Take a look at Detroit. The car industry, the manufacturers. Look at how a lot of people are out of work because these robots have taken over their jobs assembling this stuff, and how quickly it's done. Now, it's not more efficient sometimes, but it's a scary thought. I mean, what's next? I mean, we already see like self-checkouts in grocery stores, self-checkouts in some fast food chains. What happens when there is nobody there and all you got is that robot doing that job, and it decides to go haywire? It's just scary to think about. And I want to make sure that I'm good here. Alright. So Google Cloud and Amazon Cloud both have robot brains that are learning and growing inside them. I keep bringing up iRobot, but a central computer learning and growing rather than being programmed to, I mean, it's scary enough to be programmed to do something, but for it to learn. And we're going to get into a story about Alexa. Luckily, I got my Amazon Dot turned off. I stopped using it altogether. But imagine it learning and eventually taking control. Again, I could be wrong, but I mean, the stuff is already out there. Look at the Simpsons, how they usually predict a lot of things. Well, it's predictive programming. We're not going to get into conspiracy theories, but I mean, think about it. Some people think time traveler, but yeah, it's more predictive programming than actually time travel. Because they already got this stuff planned out. But again, like I said, imagine this technology taking over and growing and learning until it doesn't need us no more. The dream behind cloud robotics is to create robots that can see, hear, comprehend natural language, and understand the world around them, like the Amazon Alexa. Now, one of the, and here's a little robot to kind of carry like groceries or something like that. I mean, I can't think of the name of that cartoon, but where everything is computerized and all these fat people are sitting in these chairs just to get around. I mean, could that happen? I mean, it looks like it's headed that way. But again, I'm making assertions, but that could or could not happen, but I'll let you, the viewer, decide on that. And again, let me know in the comments down below. Now, one of the leading players in cloud robotics, such as RoboBrain, a project led by researchers at Stanford and Cornell University in the U.S., funded by Google, Microsoft, and government institutions and universities. The team are building a robot brain on the Amazon cloud, learning how to integrate different software systems and different sources of data. But it's from these companies here, which I'm not going to say again, because I want to be careful with what I say, because I don't want my video taken down. And of course, stuff like this. Another one to watch is the Everyday Robot Project by X, the Moonshot Factory at Alphabet. This company's parent company. The project is aimed to develop robots' intelligence enough to make sense of the places that we live and work. They're making headway too, testing cloud robots, and this company, again, I gotta be safe than sorry, so I don't get this video taken down or anything. Welcome back, Nicole. But again, in Northern California, so far the tasks are simple, such as sorting the recycling pretty slowly, says X, but it's the shape of robots to come. What are they planning? What are they planning on doing with these robots, and how far off? I mean, look at how quickly technology is advancing these days. I mean, from year to year, you have to learn new things just to keep up with it. You didn't have, I mean, since the 1920s, or the early 1900s until now, I mean, look, just probably just a little over 100 years or less. I mean, look at how technology has advanced just like that. Now, here's something else that might be disturbing to some people. It is for me. But now you might see that this might be a good thing, but hear me out on this. Disease will be edited out of our DNA. Now, when you think of gene splicing or something like that, that's gene altering. I mean, that's playing God. And that's scary enough I mean, them playing God. I mean, it's a good thing to get rid of diseases like cancer, but you think the people behind this are actually going to use that for that? I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want, and that's not what this show is about. But yes, it could be a good thing. But I don't know if it's going to actually be that way. Let's leave it at that. The gene editing tool CRISPR could finally treat diseases at the genetic level. A birth of the world's first gene editing babies caused uproar in 2018. I wonder why. I mean, genetically modified children. I mean, think robots. Go back to the robot thing. I mean, think about it. It's scary. The twin girls whose genomes were tinkered with during IVF procedures had their DNA altered using gene editing technology, CRISPR, to protect them from HIV. This thing I'm not going to spell out anymore uses a bacterial enzyme to target and cut specific DNA sequences. How about let's find something that would kill the disease rather than altering DNA? Because isn't the DNA separate from, or the disease separate from DNA? I mean, our body is made up of DNA. But yes, you can probably cut out that DNA of that virus or whatever. But what else are you cutting out? Again, I see bad things from this. Again, I could be wrong, but let me know in the comments down below. Chinese researcher, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but that name right there, who led the work was sent to prison for disregarding safety guidelines and failing to attain informed consent. Again, call me a conspiracy theory, but you think people that really want to do this to control our lives are going to get informed consent? I mean, again, I hope I'm wrong, but I see it coming. But that's just scary to think that they can alter the DNA. But in ethnicity sound studies, this thing, which I'm not going to keep spelling, is poised to treat life-threatening conditions before and of course, again, with the name and this, I mean, I'd worry about it. Before the controversy, Chinese scientists injected this edited immune cell into a patient to help them fight lung cancer. By 2018, 2 U.S. trials using similar techniques, and yes, it's been used in the U.S., in different kinds of cancer patients were up and running, with 3 patients reported to have received their edited immune cell back. I mean, they could say that they got that cell back, but do we really know that? Gene editing is also being tested as a treatment for inherited blood disease, sickle cell anemia. An ongoing trial will collect and edit stem cells from patients' own blood. Again, yes, this stuff could be a good thing, but you think the people that have control of this stuff are actually going to use it for good. I mean, I would hope they would, but I don't see it happening. Again, just my thoughts on it. Number 4 here, and we got, what was it, 20? So we got a long way to go. We will be begin to see living machines. Again, back to the AI. Let me actually play this scene from IRobot. And I'll probably play it up. I'm sorry for the subtitles. This is from this YouTuber's channel. But it's a clip from IRobot. And think of if you've ever seen the movie, you know where the robots tell you to stay home and everything like that.
We're being told to urge people to stay indoors. Reports are coming in nationally.
Move now. I'm going to service.
Please remain indoors. This is for your own protection.
Please return to your home.
But I don't want to play it straight through because, again, I don't want to get a copyright strike. But imagine like that first part of that scene where it was a robotic butler. I mean, think about number 2 where the cloud, Google and stuff like that is doing this kind of stuff to bring robots to learn and expand. Imagine something taking over and causing robots like this to become this thing. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but again, with like The Simpsons, this is predictive programming. And a lot of people think it's fake, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be fake. It makes for a great story, but could it happen? Yes.
Please return to your homes. A curfew is in effect.
Now imagine a bunch of robots, and get back to the story, out on the streets telling you must go home. There is a curfew in effect. Yeah, as Nicole said, and I've seen this, if you go to like Walmart or something like that, you see this big robot going through the aisles, and it could be cleaning it. It could also be taking inventory on stuff where you cut out humans altogether. And that's just scary in itself. But let's get back to this. But living machines, biological robots could start solving our problems. I wonder what type of problems. Synthetic biologists, biologists have been redesigning life for decades now. This ain't something new. They've been doing this for decades. But so far, they've mostly been missing out with single cells, a kind of souped up version of genetic modification. And genetic modification in itself is bad. Look at GMO foods, genetically modified organisms is what GMO stands for. But GMO foods, I mean, just synthetic food. Do you really want that? I heard something today or yesterday about something about synthetic food. And I like the way that I cook and with natural products growing out on a farm, or raised in raised cattle, chickens, stuff like that, where it's natural stuff rather than the genetically modified stuff. Now, in 2010, Craig Venter and his team created the first synthetic cell based on a bug that infects goats. Let's see. A synthetic cell based on a bug that infects goats. I mean, think about that for a moment. I mean, a bug that infects goats. I mean, imagine they using a synthetic like that cell in somebody's body. It's scary. 4 years later, one of the first products of synthetic biology era hit the market when the drug company Sandoz started selling malaria drugs made by re-engineered yeast cells. I don't think that went too well. Today, those biologists are starting to find ways to organize single cells into collective capable of performing simple tasks. They're tiny machines, basically like nano robots. Imagine nanotechnology in your bloodstream and being able to not just go in and take out the DNA to cure a disease, but imagine this inserted into your body. Again, I'm getting into the conspiracy stuff, but I mean, it's out there. I mean, think about it. It's scary. Imagine this nanotechnology in your bloodstream alternating that DNA, but it's not alternating the disease cell or the disease DNA. It's altering the regular DNA, the healthy DNA. I mean, think about that. That's scary. These tiny machines, or as biologist Josh Bongard at the University of Vermont refers to them as xenobots, I refer to them as nanobots. I was just checking the YouTube chat and everything. But the idea is to piggyback on the hard work of nature, which has been building time machines for billions of years. Now, those time machines that they're talking about there are like bacteria, microorganisms that have created life. But you get this robotic type technology, nanobots or xenobots as it's called here, in the bloodstream, and those have to be programmed. So what are they being programmed with? You have to ask that question. Currently, Bongard's team makes a xenobot with ordinary skin and heart cells from frog embryos. Yeah, just put anything in our bodies, producing machines based on designs etched out on a supercomputer. Let's see, could the computer be wrong? Because we know, I don't know why I wanted to say that. We know humans can be wrong, and we can make mistakes, and we're the ones that have to program these computers, or at least we've had to program these computers with the computers learning, and evolving. I mean, you do the math there. But just by combining these two types of cells, it's designed machine capable of crawling across the bottom of a petri dish, pushing a small pellet around, and even cooperating. And again, something like that in your body, in your bloodstream. Now, of course, that's like magnified up, but I mean, imagine a tiny robot in your body, altering DNA. Now, I'm not going to get into this whole thing because we're going to be here forever, so I want to move along here. Silicon Valley will try to go carbon negative. Now, carbon negative means get rid of all the carbon dioxide. But we need a lot of living creatures, even us as humans, need carbon dioxide. It's what makes our world go around. But the tech world is hoping they can turn back the clock on climate change by removing carbon emissions. Again, a lot of like trees suck in that carbon dioxide and produce the oxygen. So, I mean, I can see some of it being reduced, but what they want to do is reduce it all. Carbon negative, to turn back the clock on removing, not removing partial, but removing carbon emissions. Again, call me crazy, but yeah, it's out there for them. They don't hide it anymore. They put it out there for you, the whole world to see. And it's scary that they're doing it. Now, a rapid shift away from using fossil fuels is what required if we're going to keep the average global temperature rise within 1.5 degrees Celsius window needed to mitigate the worst effects of climate change. Now, climate is always changing. I mean, yes, we got a hand in it, in the warming and cooling of the planet, but it does it naturally. Like I saw a story today, or last night I think it was, where a volcanic eruption in the Pacific Northwest is what gave, or what scientists believe gave rise to the dinosaurs. It caused the cooling before extreme warm up. It was the, I'm sorry, I messed that up, but the planet was cool, and the large eruption caused it to cool, but also rise as soon as that cooling was done, and gave rise to the more humid type air that brought a rise to the dinosaurs. Now, are we going to see dinosaurs again? I doubt it. But life finds a way to create some weird stuff that we probably don't even know is out there. Now, a rapid shift away from using fossil fuels, and I want to get into this because I read that already, but I saw a story the other day where California wants to ban gas-powered vehicles by 2035. Just have electric or solar cars. Again, this is already out there. They're not hiding it. It's out there if you look. And that's scary in itself, that people in government, and I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, purple alien, space alien candidate, I don't care. because I don't follow any candidacy. Both all politicians are political parasites that want to control. But again, that's not what the show's about. Let's continue. But that's not all we can do. Instead of trying to limit our carbon emissions, there is scope to actually remove them from the atmosphere. Again, the atmosphere needs that carbon dioxide to create oxygen. I mean, it's what the oxygen creates our blue sky, but without the, imagine breathing into a machine that's pure oxygen and not having that carbon dioxide go out to change it back to oxygen. I mean, that could do damage to your body. And they want to get rid of all of it? All the carbon dioxide, the carbon emissions? That's scary. That's what Microsoft announced it would start doing when the software giant kicked off in 2020 by revealing its intention to be carbon negative by 2030. And we'll get into a topic like that, that scale after October. In November, we'll get into a topic like that because I got Spooktober shows already planned on the show's website, which is here. Again, I'll bring up these, talk about this at the end of the show, but I got the shows listed for all of October. Now, let's see. But that's not all. Microsoft also said that by 2050, it plans to remove from the environment all the carbon the companies have emitted since it was founded in 1975. So they want to get rid of all their carbon emissions. But I mean, they got bigger carbon footprint. These big corporations have a bigger carbon footprint than you and me. But yet, they want us to reduce our carbon emissions. Again, I'm not going to get into that, but because we're talking about technology, not conspiracies. But checking my YouTube stream, making sure everything is good. So if you're watching the show, leave a comment. Join the chat, the live chat. I got Nicole in there. I mean, I'll be checking the chat every so often, making sure, see if there's any comments. Nicole said, pretty soon don't need women to have babies. That's scary. Yes. Talked about that. And she said maybe cancer will be removed. But again, getting back to that whole thing of it, yes, it can be used for good, but I don't see it being used for good. Now, again, achieving this goal will make it more than simply switching to renewable energy sources, electrifying its fleet of vehicles and planting new forests. Now that all the forests that are getting destroyed with like the California wildfires, the fire that happened down in the Amazon, the wildlands that burned up in Australia. I mean, by replanting and putting out that nature's carbon dioxide controller, but everything is major cities, and you see less and less trees as the cities expand. That cuts down on those trees that actually need to be needed to sustain life on this planet. Hence, Microsoft is monitoring and developing negative emission technology that includes bioenergy with carbon capture and storage and direct air capture. Now, talking about the trees and this kind of stuff brings a thought of the Dr. Seuss movie, The Lorax, where they're living in a city that is fake trees, can oxygen, while outside all the trees are cut down and there is no oxygen. It's dark and grimy and stuff like that. Imagine everybody pushed into smart cities like that while nature outside, all the trees are cut down and everything like that. Imagine that kind of scene. It's a scary thought. And I'll let you read the rest of this. Of course, all the links, what I'm talking about tonight, will be in the description. Post, because again, we're already an hour in and I got a lot to talk about. I still got a couple other stories to talk about. Posts will be driven off, or pests will be driven off without cruelty. Now, again, that is a good thing, but looking at this mosquito, think about, I've already talked about genetically modified mosquitoes to kill off the mosquito population. Now, yes, mosquitoes are nasty. They carry diseases around, but they're also part of our ecosystem that could create life. And again, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but labs investigate gene-driven to fend off invasive species like gray squirrels and cane toads. Now, gray squirrels, yes, they might be invasive to some places, but I mean, think about it. The squirrel actually takes the acorn, hides it, but it doesn't always go back to eat it. And that acorn, if it's buried, it's going to cause a new tree to rise. That means more oxygen. I mean, what you want more oxygen, but I mean, a balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide, CO2 and oxygen. I mean, yeah, you would want that because you want to be able to live. But imagine them getting rid of invasive species like gray squirrels or cane toads, which I haven't pulled up and looked at. I don't see how they would be invasive because they're going to eat bugs. But they want, I mean, they're already talking about to fend off invasive species, to basically get rid of these species. I mean, mosquitoes, yeah, that would be a good thing to get rid of. But yes, they do actually help the environment in a weird sense. Another potential use for gene editing is wiping out pests, dubbed gene drives. Self-replicating edit based on this CRISPR technology could ravage through entire populations. In lab trials, the newly introduced DNA often makes one sex sterile. Now, I mean, think about that. If they start altering this stuff for pests to make people, these pest steriles, what's to stop them from making us humans sterile? Again, I'm not going to get into the whole conspiracy thing. I'll wait for November, after October, Spooktober shows are done, to talk about that. But, I mean, I'm just putting it out there. The way things are going, it could happen. Duplicating itself into infect both copies of an animal's chromosome so that it's passed on to its offspring, which they were talking about the mosquitoes to reduce the population. But I'm pretty sure they want to get rid of the population. Again, you cut out a species that is beneficial in some way. If you eliminate it completely, look at extinct animals. They've gone extinct that were beneficial to the ecosystem. Now they're not there. I mean, imagine them doing this to bees, because bees can be a pest. I mean, I'm highly allergic to bees. I don't dislike them or anything like that. I'm just checking something because I got a message thing on my phone. But imagine if I get stung by a bee, I could be going to the hospital in a helicopter, because that's how quickly I would need to get there. But imagine them getting rid of bees. Well, bees are beneficial. Yes, they're a pest. They're a nuisance. But they're also beneficial to life on this planet. They pollinate the flowers. They help things grow. They give us honey. So, don't they have robotic bugs? Yeah, I believe they do. I mean, think about... I don't know if... I can't think of anything right off the top of my head for robotic bugs. But I wouldn't put it past them. Now, some mosquitoes have developed resistance against the gene drive mutations, but researchers believe that they'll be able to pull off the technique as long as the target they target the right genes. For safety, scientists have designed override drives capable of reversing the edit. But do you think they really want to reverse the edit? Again, everything, all the links I talk about tonight will be in the description. In 2008, well, let's get into number 7, because again, we're already at over an hour into the show, and I want to get through all this. We will take mushrooms with us to space. The space missions test growing buildings out of fungus. I wonder how that would work on, say, they create a Smurf village basically on Mars. Giant fungus mushroom buildings. I don't think that would last too long. We would not be able to survive out there. Yes, they are testing. I'm sure they're testing all these bacteria, these fungus out in space on the International Space Station. I wouldn't put it past them. I'm pretty sure I've seen something where it says they are doing this kind of stuff. But, I mean, this is just weird. If you have to flee Earth to take up residence elsewhere in the galaxy, you know what we need to take with us? Mushrooms, or rather fungal spores, not to feed us on the flight over there, but to grow our houses with. Again, I think the Smurf village, when it says grow our houses with, I mean, yeah. How do we know that this is going to work? That's the thinking behind NASA's micro architecture program or project. The space agency is plan to grow buildings made out of fungi on Mars. Again, I mean, imagine you're out on planet Mars, you're in your spacesuit, and then you come into your mushroom house, take off your helmet, and then your head explodes because you can't breathe. I don't think it's going to work. But again, this is the stuff that these people think about. According to astrobiologist Lynn Rothschild. Let's see. What do that name right there want to do? I mean, they're part of the banking elite, the richest of the rich that actually control this country behind the scenes. Control our political parasite puppet politicians. Again, call me a conspiracy theory, but it's already out there. You just have to look. But who works on the project, it's a no-brainer when you consider the cost of launching a full-size building into space. Well, why not send the building material over there and construct it a little bit at a time? I mean, with robots. It's possible, but to just take fungi and hope that we survive, what do they want to, excuse me, the hiccups. What do they want to do? I mean, kill off the population except for them? And maybe a few slaves to work for them. Again, I'm not going to get into that whole story, but you can read it all. I mean, basically, this is what they're thinking, something like this. But I don't see it happening. Paralyzed patients will be able to walk again. Now, there is technology out there that not biosuits. I can't think of the name of it, but it's a suit that allows paralyzed people to be mobile. And this technology is already out there. Probably not something like this walker type thing, but the technology is out there. It says, paralyzed patients lucky enough to be enrolled in critical trials are already walking again thanks to rapid advancing neurotechnology. Now, what they're talking about is something dealing with the brain, not actual robotics that could help somebody walk, but they're talking about neurotechnology, something dealing with the brain. Okay, not a problem, Nicole. In 2018, Swiss and UK scientists announced they had placed nerve signal boosting implants into the spine of 3 men paralyzed in road and sporting accidents, all now able to walk a short distance. And yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. And there's talking about that robo suit. But the man used 2 64 electrode brain implants to control the robo suit. It's basically a robo suit. You basically become RoboCop. But yeah, natural language gadgets will get weird. And we're going to talk about this in a second. Because there's another story I want to bring up about this. Speech-enabled tech like this. Again, I don't want to say it, but you can see it here on your screen. Will start to shape your own speech. Basically train you to talk different. Or it talking different. I mean, again, the story that I'm going to share with you in a moment is going to talk about this. Again, I want to look at Facebook. It's just on my phone here real quick because I got a notification. Okay, just wanted to see what that notification was. But the fantasy of controlling our devices through speech is becoming more reality. I mean, think about film and TV that talk about smart homes where, I mean, there's already this stuff out there where you can say, lock my door or turn on the lights. I mean, this stuff is already out there. And it's just advancing at a fast pace. And it's scary that it's coming. Yes, I'm old school. I was born in the 70s when technology was very minimal. But even then, it was crazy then. But you would have had to grow up in that time. The next step is getting them to understand and respond in natural language, the sort of conversational exchange humans use. Now, imagine you having a conversation with a robot. And I'm not talking about a robot, but your this stuff device. I mean, or imagine, I mean, some people believe that those devices are actually listening to our conversation. Again, I got mine turned off. I've had mine turned off for a couple of years. I stopped it using it altogether because it would turn on, and I've heard many stories of these things turning on and saying something when you didn't even say, because you have to say the name to get it to activate. But it's, say you're cooking something and you're not even saying the word or asking a question, and all of a sudden it turns on and it starts like, I didn't recognize that or something like that. Again, people believe that it's being used to spy on us. That's probably one reason why I don't have mine turned on. But again, call me a conspiracy theory, but the information is out there. You just gotta look. So before we move on to number 10, let's look at this story here, and let me bring that down. Alexa, now this, I said, again, I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to trip off any algorithms that might get my channel taken down. Now has its own questions for you. Not us asking it questions. It's got questions for us. The new feature from Amazon allows the intelligent assistant to ask for clarification on your request. So it wants you basically to clarify what you mean so it can learn. Remember what we talked about at the beginning of the show where, let me get to it. Stuff like this, number 1 and 2, cloud robotics and synthetic media. I mean, it wants to learn. And what happens when it learns everything that it needs to know? Do we have a planet like this where IRobot and where all the people subject to these robotics? Again, I see it coming. And if you don't see something like this coming, you must have been lost in the woods for a long time. Or maybe you're out where there is no technology and you're seeing this for the first time. when Amazon released this smart speaker in 2014, people marveled at the convenience of voice-controlled computing, which, like I said, you can use that to, say, turn off my lights in my house, or control the temperature. It's already out there. This technology is already out there. Now it says Amazon has a plan to make this smarter with you as the teacher. Again, they want to use you to make their technology smarter so their technology can take over you. I mean, that's how I see it. For some commands, this will soon seek clarification to get if it gets confused. Ask to set the lights to reading mode, for example, and the device will politely inquire what that means. You mean specifically specify that you want the lights set to 40% intensity. Again, it's not only training these devices, but it's also training you, predictive programming, to train you, to program you as a human to think different. Again, it's right there in black and white. You just gotta look for this stuff. Again, call me a conspiracy theory. Let me know what you think in the chat. Or if you're watching this after the fact, let me know in the comments down below. But again, I'll leave this whole story because I'm not going to get into the whole story. I've already been talking about hour and 17. And I still got quite a bit more to talk about, but I'll leave that in the description down below. So let's get back down to number 10, where we left off. The human brain will be mapped. It's already being done. The plan to write a set of instructions for a human brain take shape. Let's see. Did I not just talk about that? Retraining the human brain. Basically to program us and program our brains. Understanding the human brain is a monumental task, but that hasn't stopped neuroscientists stepping up to meet the challenge. There's the Human Brain Project, one of the largest ever EU-funded projects, the 5 billion Brain Initiative in the US, and the recently announced China Brain Project. So it's not just here, it's not in the UA or EU, or China. It's happening all over the place. One of the aims of the U.S. initiative, launched in 2013, is to map the... Okay, hopefully you can all see me here. Can you hear me? And I want to ask this question because I had a little problem with OBS cutting out there for a moment. So, okay, I want to make sure because I got a notification that said OBS cut out. I tripped off algorithm, but it said OBS disconnected and it was reconnected. And it reconnected right away. So yeah, I tripped off. I tripped a algorithm. Again, that's why I'm being careful with what I say so I don't get my video taken down or anything. And we got like 40 minutes left in the show, if I even do the full 2 hours. But I got a lot to cover. So let's get back into this. The aim of the U.S. initiative launched in 2013 is to map all the neurons in the brain as well as their connections, starting with the mouse brain. The view is to move towards the same goal in humans. So yeah, they're going to test it on animals, then test it on us. It could help us crack the code the brain uses to drive behavior. Again, predictive programming, to program the human to think a certain way. That's what their ultimate goal is. I mean, again, if you think different, let me know in the comments. I welcome all types of discussion. I welcome that discussion, that back and forth. If you think I'm wrong, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Or if you're watching the show, pop in the chat. Let me know what you think. I'll check the chat every once in a while to make sure. Thanks, Nicole. And Nicole will be the chat mod. I will make her mod. Actually, let's see if I can make her chat mod. Okay, Nicole is now added as a chat moderator for my live stream. So if she doesn't get, if I don't see it, she'll help me out and let me know. So again, let's continue on. Will we go to war with deepfakes? Basically, talking about the synthetic robots, the technology, AI. Will we go to war with that? And I'm not talking about, what I think they're talking about is not us using robots to go to war in other countries with other robots. I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think they're talking more about this stuff, like this. Let me play this.
Please return to your homes. A curfew is in effect. Curfew? Hey. No. Robots are talking, man.
Stuff like that.
Return to your homes. Return to your homes.
Let me get to it. Right here. That's what I think they're talking about. Us going to war with the AI. Going to war with the deep fakes. Yeah, and that's the same feeling that I got too, Nicole. Is that this stuff could actually happen. And I mean, it's predictive programming. Look at The Simpsons. I mean, yes, people think that they went back in time, the creators went back in time to see the stuff that they predicted. But, I mean, I have a little tough time with time travel. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it is real. But I believe that they, more than time travel, that they had this stuff planned to happen. But again, will we go to war with deepfakes? An arms race will pit AI against each other to discover what's real and what's not. I mean, what they're talking about there is basically what I started talking about is our AIs versus their AIs. But again, it could be happening like IRobot, where it's us versus the AIs. Deepfake videos have exploded online over the past 2 years. It's where artificial intelligence is used to swap one person's image into a photo or video for another. And again, as lifelike as this looks, who's to say until you hear it? And imagine them improving on that voice technology to sound like me or you. I mean, think about it. Then you won't be able to tell what's real and what's not. Deep Trace is a company set up to combat this. Says in just the 8 months between April and December of 2019, deepfakes rocketed by 70% to 17,000. Most deepfakes, about 96%, are that. I'm not going to say that. But imagine that being fake. I mean, it is acting, so yes, it could be faked. But not the way that they're describing it there. Let me check something here real quick. Now, the state of deepfakes, D-Trace says that the top 4 dedicated deepfake that generated that many views. That's a lot of views. But again, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but imagine this scene here. Again, I don't want to play the whole thing because I don't want to set off algorithms that gets me a copyright strike. So I have to break in and stuff like that on videos. Brain machines interface with will change the way we work and walk. Again, they want to create us as robots. I mean, let's play this video here. And let's see if you can see this okay. Yeah. Now this is a short video. Now, yeah, something like that could be helped to use to train somebody that is paralyzed to walk again. But, I mean, I was looking at the chat for a second. But imagine something like that. That would be used for good. But imagine us having robotic bodies. When we don't need it to walk. And I mean, this video is going to explain how it works. 2 wireless sensors are implanted into the brain over the area that controls movement. Again, something that could help. And the technology is already there to help people. I mean, look at Stephen Hawking. All he has to do is push a button and it talks for him. That's deepfake AI technology that he used. That was the beginning. Stephen Hawking was basically a test subject for that, even though I'm pretty sure he had some hand in that stuff, that technology, but to help him talk when he couldn't talk. And even though I bring up like conspiracy type things, I mean, it's not hard to see that it's out there. It's stuff that is out there. And in the chat, Nicole says, yeah, what about VR systems they have now? To create, the VR virtual reality is out there. I mean, look at that technology. Imagine viewing VR without that thing over your face. Imagine, like she said, pretty soon we'll have the holodeck from Star Trek. Imagine that type of technology. Yes, it could have its advantages, but it also could have its disadvantages, its downside. Now it says the sensors record electric signals from the brain and send commands to the machine to control walking and stuff like that. And we're not going to get into, basically a virtual reality type from your brain to these machines. Think old gaming systems like in the 80s. If you were around that in those times. If you're younger than that, you might not know this, but there was actually a game system that had a glove, or better yet, let's talk about like the Wii system, that remote that makes it seem like you're actually there, or a glove that you put on your hand and it's going through that wire to the system, to the screen, and it's mimicking that movement. That's basically what they're talking about. Here. So basically like that VR stuff. It says, remember Back to the Future where the kids was trying to, this arcade, they said you have to use your hands. Yeah. Long gone are those days. But I'll let you watch this whole video here and read this whole thing. Again, I want to get into, but these are stuff that we could be having on our bodies to control our movements. Machines will track your emotion. I see a bad thing about that. Again, what do they want us to do? To control what we think? I mean, yeah, I see what they're talking about when they talk about let's get rid of mental health issues. But do you really think that they're going to use that for just that? Are they going to control how we have emotional feelings and stuff like that? Amid ethical concerns, scientists will strive to help AI read feelings. Yeah, I mean, imagine cameras being able to detect how you feel, and then they, like, if you feel angry, imagine them sending out a squad of RoboCops that deem you a health hazard or a danger just because you're angry. I mean, again, I could be wrong, but it's there in black and white. Again, I wouldn't put it past them to have this type of technology. As Nicole said, I have a fear of dentists as it is, because she said, I wouldn't want a robot dentist. Yeah, imagine a robot working on your teeth, or imagine like those things that the car manufacturers that weld and put those pieces together. Imagine those type of robots working on your teeth or working on you during surgery. That's scary. Yes, humans can make mistakes, but so can computers, because they're programmed to do a certain task, and if that programming goes haywire or somebody programs it different or hacks into it and causes it to do something else that's not intended, I mean, it's a scary thought. We got 25 in. I don't want to get through all this, but again, you can read all this. I'm going to get into other stuff. Read briefly over these objects because we got like 6 left. Your AI psychiatrist will see now. Artificial intelligence psychologist. Again, AI machines will track your emotions. Well, there it is. AI psychiatrist. And this is stuff that we could see from now until 2029, the end of 2029. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it's stuff that we can see, and probably we already see it. We just don't really realize it. We will set foot on the moon and maybe Mars. Now, yes, that I could see happening. They're already talking about another moon mission and taking people to Mars and stuff like that. So, yes, that I see happening within these 10 years. Privacy will really matter. After spending much of the last decade handling our data over the likes of these companies via our smartphones, social media, and search engines, it seems though people around the world and this entity, which I will not name, that represents them, yeah, it's more like the other way around where, government, this represents these companies that are wising up to the risk of these corporations knowing so much about us. And yes, they do know about a lot about us. Think about it. When you talk about a certain topic, say you're thinking about pizza, and you're looking through Facebook and you scroll and then you see an ad for pizza or Pizza Hut or Domino or something like that. Do you think the computer's actually learning, or do you think that they're listening to us? Again, I'm not going to scroll all the way back up to the top, but I mean, think about it. It's already happening, and it's going to continue to happen. The internet will be everywhere. Between this, because a lot of channels get taken down for mentioning that, so I'm not going to even mention it, and the internet being down from us from this here. Again, because I don't know if that's something that I can mention. I want to be on the safe side. I know that this I can't mention, because my channel will get taken down if I talk about anything conspiratorial, whether it's theory or fact. Yes, most people think that there's a lot of people out there that they think when they hear conspiracy, they think conspiracy theory only. But there is a such thing as conspiracy fact. It's stuff that has been proven to be true. Like somebody say something of a government nature and it happens. That is conspiracy fact. To conspire. Look up the word conspire or conspiracy. But again, I'm not filled text from driverless cars, which I'm going to get into in a second in the next story I'm going to pull up. Drone air traffic control and peer-to-peer virtual reality, which we're already in with this whole convid. Again, something I can't say, because if something I say tricks off an algorithm, this video gets taken down. So I want to be careful what I say. The C virus, and I call it convid, like another YouTuber I watch, because that's what it is. But because of it, we're in a virtual reality setting where we're using technology to, like, I have to use my computer in virtual classes to take the courses I need to learn technology, which, trust me, I'm not going to use the technology that I learned for bad. I'm going to use it for good. I'm not programmed. That's why I stay away from mainstream media. But it isn't without its drawbacks. So there's a lot of drawbacks with all that stuff, and it's true. Underground cities will rise. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see what this chat says. Saw a commercial, a driverless car. This guy just used this remote to move it to move it from parking lot spot. Yeah, it's already out there. I mean, look at self-parking cars, the driverless cars. Of course, you got to be present in the cars. They're not to the point where you can actually be hands off all the time. It's not that clear cut. But I mean, I see some bad things, and I'm going to get into that. Actually, let's pull that up right now, that story. Tesla driver pulled over for going 93 miles per hour while completely asleep. So he basically put it on autopilot. He was laying back, according to the story, he was laying back like if you parked and you lay your seat back all the way to take a nap as you're parked. Imagine doing that while you're doing 93 miles per hour. Now, did he set the controls to go, and this was in Canada, so it was actually exactly 150 kilometers per hour, which is 93 miles per hour. But did he set it to go 93 miles per hour, or did he set it to maybe like the speed limit, which is like, if I'm trying to remember correctly, it's around 100 kilometers an hour per hour, which is about 60 miles per hour. And the computer system went haywire and went 93 miles per hour. Again, I haven't read the story yet. I just mainly read the headline. But because it has to do with what I'm talking about tonight, I wanted to bring this up. But again, you can read this whole story because we got 15 minutes left, and I don't want to go longer than 2 hours. I've been talking a lot. My voice is going, and my booty is hurting. So I want to cover a couple of things here. The last two things here. Three things, I should say. Underground cities will rise. Earthscapers could help provide living, office space, and recreational space for ever-increasing urban population. So, I mean, if they want to push us all into smart cities, could they start building, when they push everybody into these smart cities, if it gets too full, then do they build out of the city and keep that, expanding that and taking away more trees, more oxygen and stuff, or do they build underground? Which could be a bad thing it could be a good thing in like the Midwest where there's, and here in North Texas where there's tornadoes, underground living. But it'd also be a bad thing because you wouldn't see the sunlight. You wouldn't have that natural vitamin D. But, I mean, it would help if you were able to come up to the surface every day and get that sunlight. But imagine living underground permanently. I mean, think about Navy submariners. They're under the water for usually sometimes 6 months at a time underwater, not seeing daylight. So imagine the effect that it has on their bodies. Imagine the effect that it has on the people in space that are in that artificial atmosphere inside the station unless they step outside. But their body is they're not getting the sun rays from the sun because they got these thick spacesuits on, so it has no benefit. So they're basically living in an artificial atmosphere, which is not conducive to helping your immune system and everything else. But yes, it could be a good thing here in the Midwest having something underground but able to come up to the top because of tornadoes. But it would be a bad thing in places like, let's say the West Coast and Indonesia and stuff like that, where there are earthquakes or volcanoes. I mean, just imagine lava flowing down, and it keeps going down. It follows gravity, and it goes into your house, and you're trapped, no way out. A scary thought. And again, I want to see. That would be cool. Wouldn't have to pass the driver's test in a car. Yeah. Yeah, imagine a Knight Rider type car. All automated, driving itself. That's what that was talking about. But again, I want to end this pretty soon here because we're getting close to the 2-hour mark. We will continue to search for extraterrestrial life. Yes, we do that. There's always going to be somebody out there searching for extraterrestrial life. It's out there. Now, there are some people that say, no, it's not real. I've had somebody in this complex say that there is no extraterrestrials, no ETs, no gray aliens or anything like that. But how can you believe a universe that big having no life outside the system? How do you know that there isn't something out there? That's my question. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, all the links that I'm talking about tonight will be in the description for you to check out yourself. Again, I want to get rid of talk about all this stuff here quickly because we got about 10 minutes left. Quantum computers will gain supremacy over supercomputers. So they're already talking about these advanced computers will gain supremacy over supercomputers. Imagine that technology advancing. Again, I keep bringing up this movie here, IRobot, but imagine my computer and imagine a supercomputer taking over my computer. That's basically what the technology. Imagine, like in the movie, there's Vicky, that supercomputer system that controls all these robots. I mean, imagine that technology learning from us and advancing to that realm of quantum mechanics. Dreams of exploiting the bizarre realm of quantum mechanics to create super powerful computers have been around since the 1980s, so it's nothing new. But in 2019, something happened that made a lot of people sit up and take quantum computers seriously. Solved the quantum computer solved a problem that would take conventional computer much, much longer. And see the image that they used here? And I don't know if this is actually the image of that quantum computer. But does it remind you of something that IRobot? I mean, it does for me. But again, I'll let you all read all this stuff. Again, all of it's going to be in the description. Before I go, I want to talk about this. Some of the technology, and this is from Interesting Engineering, 11 illustrations of how people in the past imagined life today. Of course, people in the 50s thought, and you can see it in movies like Back to the Future and the Jetsons, how people thought we were going to have flying cars, we were going to have smart cities, driverless cars, which were already there. Stuff like this going over water. Smart cities of the future. Basically like the Jetsons. I mean, does that building not resemble something of the Jetsons? Let's see. The computer prophecy, instant messaging, but make it in cursive instead of instead of the type that we have for the font that we have for, and there is different font that we can use for certain things to make it a cursive writing, basically like signing your name, but for the most part it is just a block standard messaging. Let's see, 1964 prediction of instant messaging. And this was in 1964 prediction of instant messaging technology in the far off year of 2004. So they thought in 2004, by that time, we were going to, in 1964, they thought we would have this type of technology. Little did they know, we got smartphones like this where we can do everything on those. Heavy metals doing heavy music. Basically, robots producing music. We already got that, and that's been around for a while. Think Chuck E. Cheese, those robots playing music, basically, or like this playing music. Amphibious water vehicles like this here, which we already do have amphibious vehicles that can be on land and water, and before commercial use, they were military use. Food delivery trucks, which we have, future food delivery predictions from the 1940s, 1870 times, I don't know what that is for, but basically predicting people delivering food. Well, we kind of have something like that with food trucks, personal transportation, weird vehicles like that, smartphone prophecy, anonymous vehicle, autonomous, not anonymous, autonomous vehicles, basically the driver car, self-driving. We haven't reached there yet. We're getting close, but we haven't reached there. Incredible machines, Iron Man creatures. I talked about the robotics that can help people walk. Could that be the future? Again, predictive programming. The robot kitchen, basically a robot doing everything for you. We do have a lot of stuff. Robot kitchen, here you can watch this video. But we got 5 minutes left. Again, go over to my website, talkingthenight.com. That's the new website. All I got up there is the home screen. Wouldn't have to cook again. But yeah, go to talkingthenight.com. Sorry, I was checking the chat, but talkingthenight.com. Only the homepage is transferred over yet. I'm still working on it. Eventually, I'm going to get every little bit. I'm going to get a little more switched over from the old website, which is this one, and I want to get a darker background for the new website instead of the white. But I gotta still learn how to do that on this. But talkingthenight.com, the homepage is here. You can find out what's coming up, the past show of the day, Now this will only have something here where it says tonight's show went on the day of the show, the morning of the show. I didn't get it done till later in the afternoon because I was busy, but that'll be on the day of the show. Upcoming show, you'll see what's coming up next, along with what's coming up with future shows if I have it scheduled out that far. But talking about that, upcoming show next Saturday, we get into Spooktober. We get into the spooky month, the time of year that I love the most. So Spooktober 3rd, next Saturday, we're going to talk about true ghost stories around the world. Then, of course, the following Saturday, Spooktober 10th, scary movies based on true stories. Spooktober 17th, haunted places around the world. The 24th, the history of Halloween. And the 31st, hopefully by the 31st, I will have it a way to figure out how I can actually get people that can call into the show. So that way people can share their ghost stories. Basically, if you've ever heard the radio program Coast to Coast AM, they have Ghost to Ghost. I was trying to think of the name of it, where they have open lines where you can call in and talk about paranormal stuff. I'm working on that. I will find a way to get that done. But I call mine Ghost Talk. And hopefully I'll have a way to where I'll be able to have Skype open to where people can call in while I'm live or do Skype video and give me their question. So I'm working on that. So again, the 3rd through the 31st is already planned with Spooktober topics, true ghost stories, scary movies based on true stories, haunted places around the world, the history of Halloween, and of course Ghost Talk open lines. Again, the rest is like Talking the Night News, story of the day will be coming soon as I have figure out my schedule on how to do everything. Today in history, that'll all be back. The news talk newsletter, which I will have going soon. Hopefully, like I said, everything's on the homepage. If you want to find out more about myself, the host, go over to my old website. Again, all the links are in the description. You can click on About, the advertising for the show, which you'll get on the new website. Guests of the show all be transferred over. Some people that I've had on the show before. Blog and vlog, which way you'll be able to find Into the Paranormal, which tomorrow night, if you got any questions for about the paranormal, if you got any questions about the paranormal, send them, leave a comment down below, send me a message on Talking the Night or ITP Into the Paranormal on Facebook. It could be a question, it could be a video format, whatever. Send it by tomorrow afternoon. I will put it in the video tomorrow night. And I will answer that question. So I want to end here. We're a little past 10 o'clock. Again, check out all the stuff down below. Here, let me get off of this and bring this full screen here real quick. So again, I want to thank you. Again, if you can, make sure to donate to the show. There's a PayPal link in the description. Whatever you can donate, it would help me greatly produce great content like tonight. Also, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, be sure to comment and share with all your friends. So, I want to take something off here real quick. I want to pull something up here before I end tonight. And I want to play my music so I can take it out of here. So, until next time, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night. Late night, darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio, and you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about paranormal and all of the things. When he sounds off, you can hear